Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us for tonight's session, HR Mentorship Book Review. And we have chosen a very important book, very timely also. The title is Die Empty, Unleash Your Best Work Every Day. Die Empty, Unleash Your Best Work Every Day. Today, we have two discussants, our ever reliable, dependable, consistent Ezine Obiora, who is the Chief HR and Operations Executive or Officer with FIMO Vision. And also, for the first time on this platform, we have the pleasure of having our colleague, highly esteemed Quinsley Okon. We also call her Ua. All right. She is the administrative officer with Covenant University. I would like to hand over immediately to Ezine and Quincy. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Yemi.
so much.
Good evening, everyone. Good to be here again. It feels like it's been a while. And yes, welcome, Wa, as I fondly call her. Welcome to this book review for the month. So, guys, the way it's going to happen is Uwa is going to take the floor. I'm opening the floor for Uwa. Uwa will take us through a couple of the chapters, and then I will come in at the end. But I really would like this to be interactive because this book is very practical or very, very relatable to life. So please, as the review is going on, feel free to put in your comments, maybe things we can discuss afterwards because we'll have room to talk about, stuff or, raise any questions if there are. But yes, over to Uwa. So Uwa, thank you for sharing the platform with me, and I look forward to your review.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hi, hello everyone. Good evening. I hope we're all fine, and I'm sure we've had a very long day. So let me just jump into it. So today we're discussing Die Empty, Unleash Your Best Work Every Day by Todd Henry. And when I see these kind of books, I'm normally very scared of them. I say that because they feel like how will I put it now? They feel like motivational speaker books, and I tend to run away from them. But going through this book, it shows that it's not necessarily a motivational speaker kind of book. It actually is very practical. Like, it gives you practical steps and solutions to the things that you want to achieve going forward. So without further ado, I would just jump into it. So I will start with the first question: before you die, because this book opened on a very high note, and from chapter 1 you are told the problem is addressed. What goes through people's minds every single day. Like, everybody's trying to achieve things in their lives, and some of them may end up not achieving them. And it shows in the story that began the book by a designer called Candy Chang. She had she had lost someone, and she was reflecting on life, as we normally tend to do. And she was reflecting on its importance, and she decided to put something on the board. And that thing said, before I die, what would I do? And she wanted to see the opinions of people around her. And people came in and they were writing their own things. Before I die, I want to do this. Before I die, I want to do that. So I would like to, before we even go into it, I'd like to ask you people, before you die, what would you want to do with your life? Before you die, what would you want to do? So let's answer this question before we go on. Before you die, what would you want to do? Let me see your comments. Before you die, what would you want to do? I would like you to answer those questions yourself. So before you die, what would you want to do? Nobody's answering. Okay. Or am I going to get responses from anybody? Nobody's saying anything. Okay. I guess people don't want to talk, or they are scared of typing. You can type in the comment section if you don't want to say anything. Before you die, what would you want to do? Okay, let's just move on since nobody's saying anything. So people have different ideas and different things that they want to do. There's something that stood out to me in one of the things that was said. So someone actually said, before I die, I want to be somebody's savior. And that statement was really important. I say that because the person was saying you want to be someone's knight in shining armor. Like, why is that something that is very important to you? Then you realize in the scale of life or the scale of preference of things, people have different things that are important to them. And that person just wanted to be someone's knight in shining armor. They didn't even think of themselves in that situation. And another person has said, before I die, I just want to tell my mother I love her. So people have a lot of things that are very important to them. And they end up not doing them. So that's what this book tends to attack. That you shouldn't die empty. And you should be the best version of yourself. And it began with a quote, "Alas for those that never sing but die with all their music in them," by Olivia Wendell Holmes. Do not be that person that dies with all the things that you want to do inside you. But what exactly is dying empty? So what does it mean and what does it not mean? Now, what does die empty not mean? It is not about getting everything done today. This is, some people, when they see die empty, they assume, okay, because of that, I am going to overwork myself. I'm going to take myself to a level that I don't understand. And you start arming yourself with different jobs. You have fake boundaries and you are just the worst version of yourself. You have overstressed, overworked, and you're wondering, okay, how did I get myself into this? Because you saw a statement, die empty, or a phrase, die empty. You just assumed, okay, I must do everything that I have to do. And you wonder why you're not getting everything done. But that's not what it means. You mustn't get everything done today. It's measured effort. And die empty doesn't mean that it's not the same as live like there's no tomorrow. So you can't be living like you don't have a life to look forward to tomorrow. That is what it means. So it doesn't mean that you should live like there's no tomorrow. Because some people say, okay, since we are here now, people start giving this you only live once. So people have their slogan as their life's goal. But the truth is that you cannot live life as though you are living it on a mile high. It doesn't make any sense to live life that way. And dying empty doesn't also mean following your whims. People are very good at just jumping on trends or following anything. Or you saw that somebody did tech, you now want to jump on the tech train. You've not sat down and analyzed things that, okay, this person is doing tech, is tech the thing for me? Am I going to benefit or provide value? Am I going to impact when I do tech? Am I going to, you don't ask yourself those questions. It's not about fulfilling your whims. Dying empty does not mean that. So what does dying empty actually mean? It means your days are numbered and someday they will run out. That means you're going to live every day strategically and intentionally. You cannot live every day as though it's waiting for you. You have a time machine there that is storing up time for you. You can't be living life that way. You have to live life knowing that, yes, I'm not going to be here forever. So every action and every intention matters. That is how you're going to live life. And then you also, dying empty means you have a unique contribution to make to the world. You cannot be like everyone else. You have a unique identity. You have to live life that way. So do not say, I'm going to be Z. Don't say, I'm going to be Z. I am not Z. You are Queensley. Like, I am not Z. I am Queensley. So live life that way. Then dying empty also means no one else can make your contribution for you. So stop waiting for permission to act. So you cannot be blaming people or blaming yourselves. Like, dying empty does not, it means you have a personal responsibility to yourself. That's what it means. I hope I'm not distracting everybody. Is everyone following? Okay,
Yes.
I see some comments
Yes,
in the
well.
chat.
Yes.
Okay. Fulfill purpose by helping the less privileged. Okay, that's very nice. Thank you, Franca. That's very nice. That's what you want to do. Thank you so much. I see that people are already sending in chat. I thought people were not listening, but is everyone following me as we're going forward? I don't want to seem like I'm talking to myself. So thank you. So yeah, back to what dying empty means.
Yes.
Dying empty.
But
Sorry. What? Okay.
Go ahead, Dua,
So
go
let's
ahead.
go on. Yes. So dying empty also means your contribution is not about you. So in this place, Todd Eri, I liked what he said, because I think when we are chasing our goals in life, when we are chasing the things that we want to do, we tend to want to always be recognized. You know, we like to be the celebrity. We like every award and every laurel to come to us. So dying empty reminds you, it puts you on a humility path. It tells you that the contribution that you're giving to society is not about you, because people tend to get so lost in the source. They really want to be the center of attention, and attention can be a drug, and once you become a slave to it, it will be very hard for you to get away from it unless you're very intentional about changing. So don't stop chasing the celebrity high of doing things. Instead, do things because you want to impact someone's life. Stop making it about yourself. Don't always want to be at the center of attraction. Like, it doesn't help. You are not the only person that exists in the world. You have to drop your ego, take it aside, and focus on being the best version that another person would appreciate. Let that value be seen in the people you've impacted, instead of just what you want to gain. Dying empty also means avoiding comfort. People like to chase the soft life. Everybody, I want to be soft, or soft life, this one. But the truth is that soft life should not be the goal. It actually should be a byproduct of your continuous contributions. And the thing is that once you chase soft life as a goal, then you suddenly become chained to it. It can easily become a slave to the soft life. So you should focus on the process instead of just chasing the end goal. Enjoy the process of what you're chasing. I mean, there's this saying by this popular musician that I like so much. He said that might be gold, but that is still a chain. Do you get? So you're chasing gold, but what you don't realize is that it can make you its prisoner without you even knowing what it is. So dying empty also means taking a stand. You know, a lot of us, in the environments that we're in, we tend to get sucked into people's beliefs, people's opinions, people's ideas of what the world should be. And the truth is that you cannot always be what other people tell you to be. You have to develop your opinions, your ideas on what life should be. Develop your opinions on how life is going to go for yourself. You have a unique path. So you should stand on convictions. If you don't have very strong convictions, you are going to just become like everybody in the crowd. There's the saying that goes, stand for something or fall for anything. So you either stand for the truth, you stand. If someone calls you out and says, oh, this is what you are that person everywhere. You cannot be shape-shifting. Do you understand? That's what this book reminds us to do. So do not be a shape-shifter. Have something that you stand for. You stand for this, please have something. If you're a Christian, stand for being a Christian. If you say you're a Muslim, stand for being that, and let it be clear. Don't be a Christian today and tomorrow you're a Muslim in another environment. It doesn't help anybody. Like, it doesn't help you. People don't even trust you if you are going to bend at every minute. It doesn't help yourself. It doesn't help your growth. In fact, you can't really be taken serious. Dying empty also means understanding of your sweet spots over time. So dying empty means that you have to find something that is very unique about you. I say that because you aren't wired to just do one thing. I think people get lost in the fact that they want to have life figured out at the very beginning of their lives. It's like once you've left secondary school or maybe you've left university, you suddenly just want to know what to do. But you can't get through life and just know what to do. You're going to have to allow yourself experiment with a lot of things. Do you understand? Allow yourself to experiment, allow yourself to understand life, allow yourself to experience different aspects of yourself, and you'll be amazed at the many things you are capable of doing and the many places where you can make impact. So don't try to know your end before you put in the work. Put in the work first, and it will be easier for you to know your end. So, and the last thing of what dying empty means, it means you must plant seeds today for a harvest later. That is what that's another meaning of dying empty. So dying empty, it makes you prepare ahead for your future. You're thinking of the future, but at the same time, you're putting in consistent and steady effort to get to where you are supposed to be. You cannot just stay stuck in a rut. You are putting in effort, you are planting seeds. You say you want to be a seasoned compensation and benefit specialist. You are going through trainings, steadily learning, finding mentors. You're doing all these things over time. You're taking courses. So you are not keeping yourself limited. So that's what dying empty entails. Putting yourself in a preparatory mode all through your life so that you reap the benefits in the future. Because no fear of the unknown. Like you are always preparing yourself. You are always steady. You are always in a steady learning mode. That is what dying empty entails. So that was for chapter 1. Then chapter 2, it says your contribution. Now, there's this saying that started the book. It said the average man does not know what to do with his life, yet wants another one which will last forever. So I like this saying. Why? Because it forces you to examine yourself. Because people, like I said earlier, people like the goal instead of the process. A lot of us, and the truth is that it's inescapable as a human being. For us, we tend to focus, and that is why a lot of us probably get depressed easily, or get bored easily, or get sucked in some sad phase of our lives. We tend to stay stagnant. Why? Because we're always chasing the next high. We're chasing trends. It's like people want to live life on trends. And the truth is that you cannot live life on trends. It's not possible. Once you start living life in that way, it's like an orgasm bubble. You are stuck looking like a mile-high thief. And it is advisable to not be that person. That's what I advise anyone to do. So stop chasing what the next thing will be, the next position you want to be. Make impact with where you are now, so that when it's time for you to move, when you've prepared yourself, when you've been strategic enough, then it's easier for you to get to the next phase of your life. And okay, so we love talking about work, because dying empty also entails work. So I like what he said in the book about work in some parts in chapter 1. He said, work is the value you create in every aspect of your life. Now, people think that work is just, okay, I come to work, you get me paid, you get a salary because you are doing something. But you know that you're putting, any effort you put into any aspect of your life, whether it's your relationship, whether it's your life, like yourself personally, friendships, family, wherever you find yourself, you're putting that effort that you're putting in is work. But people don't tend to appreciate that. They just think work is something you get paid for. Sometimes work is very unpaid. The mothers in the house will understand what unpaid work is, because they are doing a lot of unpaid labor. Their reward is in the future. And I shout out to the mothers in the house, because you are doing a lot. In fact, shout out to the parents in the house, because they are doing a lot for the children. So all these things, all these efforts are part of work, but people just tend to focus on work being, okay, what you do in an office, but it's way more than that. And in chapter 2, it says your body of work should reflect what's important to you. So with this understanding of what work is, would you now say that work is like just going to work, going to your office and getting a salary? Is that the only thing that is important to you? Let me see your responses in the comment section. Is work the only thing, going to an office, is that the only thing that is important to you, or there's more? So let me know in the comment section. I'm not seeing their comments. I don't know why. I'm just seeing a few of them. Hello? There is more. Okay, everybody's following. I've just seen a few comments here. Okay, that's good. I think you guys are doing your work. So there's this saying by Steve Jobs that says, I have looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? So I would like us to answer this question. When you look at yourself in the mirror every day when you wake up, and do you always ask yourself, if someone walked up to you and asked you if this was the last day of your life, would you enjoy what you're about to do today? How would you answer that question? I would like us to respond in the comment section, because I'd like to see what your comments are on that. Okay, I've seen some comments here. Isn't it certainly not? There's a lot more to life than just office. Yes, definitely. Franca says work is definitely more than office work to me. Okay, that's good. Caleb says definitely not going to work that day. Okay, that's what's important to you. Okay. Abimbola said, I think it depends on the phase an individual currently is. Okay, that's understandable, because normally people are at different evolutionary state. Am I saying evolutionary? See, I don't the bagger for you. People are at different phases of their lives in development, and it's continuous. So obviously, people are not going to have the same thing. People are not going to enjoy the same thing another person is enjoying. So I understand that part of the phase an individual currently is. That's good. Thank you so much. So let me go back to it. So thank you for answering my questions. So would you enjoy what you're about to do today? Well, for me, I like work. So if I'm going to answer this question, I'll say yes, because I enjoy working. I don't care, because to me, I don't know, maybe that's how it has been. To me, anything that requires me to be busy and to add value to somebody is already rewarding enough for me, and I love it and I appreciate it so much. So I don't take it for granted. But maybe for another person, they will probably not want to work, because for them, why are they working when they can just stay in their houses and let money come to them? Do you understand? So I understand that aspect. It can't be the same for everybody. Everybody's way different. So then he said something else that caught me, and I would like us to reflect on it. He said, remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help make the choices in life, because almost everything, all pride, all external expectations, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. So I enjoy this quote. Why do I enjoy it? Because he tends to embrace death. I know that human beings are very scared of death. Nobody wants to die. Two-Face said nobody won't die, but they won't go heaven. It's like everybody is so scared of death. But if people can live life I think people will be more intentional with the choices and decisions that they make. I think they will be very, very intentional, but people are not. That is why we are where we are. That's why people tend to get sad quickly. But it helps to embrace death. I wish you were seeing the slide so that you see everything that I wrote here, but that's fine. We'll still go on regardless. So I would advise you to embrace death today. Embrace the idea of death. embrace the fact that one day I'm going to die, so I'm going to live life I'm going to live my life intentionally, live my life strategically, and live my life in the best way possible. So another thing I'll tell you to do is to embrace the fear of the unknown. This book clearly focuses on that. I like the fact that it focuses on that. Why? Because it reminds you that you cannot keep waiting for something good to happen. You have to make these things happen for yourself. It doesn't mean you go out and just do random things. You have to embrace the fear of do things strategically, take risks strategically. Lots of people have purpose paralysis. That's the fear of getting it wrong. I think a lot of us tend to get stuck in that mode. I know I used to have this a lot of times. Recently I started having this fear because before younger I embraced fear. So I don't know why it got to that place. Maybe because I was getting older and maybe pressure and all these things. But I used to be very daring when I was younger. So once people said, oh, you can't do this, you're a girl, this one, I did it. I was that daring because I feel, okay, what is happening? I mean, if another person did it, why can't I do it? And I found myself doing those things. So we should learn to embrace the fear of unknown. If you fail, you fail. But it has happened. But at least you are happy that you did that thing. You're happy that you took that action. And you're happy that you took something that was intentional and you made something out of it. You created value in it. Okay, so I'll just tell you to be worth more than your work, because this chapter tends to talk about your contribution. That's why I keep hammering on work and intentionality, strategical placing yourself in life. You have to go through life very, very intentionally and very, very strategically. You cannot just keep making decisions on a whim. You have to be worth more than your work. People exchange. So there was a study that was conducted in this book, and he said they went through different countries, and there was something they said. They said that people tend to exchange creativity for getting work done. And I asked myself, how does that play out in the real world? He said you tend to exchange creativity for getting work done. Then this is how it plays out. Now people are working in different offices, and you notice that these people are stuck in a rut. They do not want to change, or they do not like embracing change. In fact, there are some companies that have very, very toxic or stagnant work cultures. So they don't want to be innovative. Let's say people are using different softwares to take care of things and make life easy. These people, maybe the management will say no, they are not ready for it, or the things they've been doing before is fine with them. They don't want to innovate, they don't want to move forward. And what happens? That company tends to regress and stay where they are. And they wonder why after 20 years, the company has not moved from where it's supposed to be. That's very terrible, and that's not something you want happening to you. So learn to embrace change, learn to embrace the unknown, be very adaptable. One saying that you should take home today is your legacy is built one decision at a time. So ensure that you ask yourself every day, what decision am I making today that will influence my legacy going forward? So let's do that. Let's try to be more than just our work. Work is fine. That office work is fine. But every other aspect of your life that requires work and time and focus, ensure that you are very involved in those work. They are adding value, and then there's a balance, and then you are very intentional about them. So now this book gives us types of work and the types of workers. There are 4 of them, and maybe you people can ask yourselves who you are. So the types of work are mapping, making, and meshing. Now, what is mapping? It's very straightforward. It's the work before the work. That means the work you put in, you plan, you set your objectives. I want to be a HR professional. These are the things I want to do. This is how I'm going to get to where I'm going to get. So it's the work before the work. You sat down and you've analyzed the things that you have to do. It's like a job analysis. You sit down and plan. It's like workforce planning. It's the work before the work. Now, making is now doing the work. At this point, you've gathered the knowledge, you've gathered the skills, and you know, okay, this is the thing that you want to do. And you start doing. This is when you start pushing yourself, immersing yourself in the work, you start making changes, you start implementing a lot of things. And the last type of work is called meshing. It's the work within the work. Now, the book says that this work doesn't have any pay. And what are these things? These things are the overnight sacrifice, because you want to improve your skills, you want to do things that office work will not allow you to do. So meshing is like unpaid labor. At that point, you are constantly improving yourself. You are checking trends, what is changing in my work environment that I don't know about. So meshing is that work after the work and within the work. So you keep doing those things consistently. You want to know, okay, what's going on, how are these things influencing, how can I get better? It's the work within the work. So it's the last part of it, and it's very unrewarding, but at the same time the reward lies in how your mapping and making progresses. Now, there are 4 types of workers. And these 4 types of workers are the developer, the driver, the drifter, and the dreamer. Now, the developer combines mapping and making. Now, this person works with urgency and diligency. This person is putting in what it takes to make things happen in the work environment. This person is putting in the work, moving everything, like he's putting in the work. Now, the driver is just mapping and making without meshing. Are we following? Because I want us to pick out of these 3 which of them that we are. So are you the driver or are you the developer? So that's what. Okay. Thank you, Ezine. For me. Yeah. Caleb. Okay. I didn't even see these messages. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Right. So now, back to what I was saying. So the developer combines the 3 types of work: mapping, making, and meshing. The person works with urgency and diligence. That person is doing everything that it takes. The person is in fact, that's the most strategic worker in the workplace. The person is daily improving, always open to learn, never scared of failure, always humble, never putting himself at the forefront. Then there's the driver. This person only maps and makes, but never meshes. And this person is just focused on results and doesn't want to see beyond results. Now, this person might be doing the work, but at some point, this person is going to get very bored. Why? Because you're just driving, but there's no destination. You're just focused on, oh yes, I've gotten here and that's it. So your high, you're just looking for the next high. That is who I'll call the driver. Now, who is the drifter? Now, the drifter just makes and meshes. Sorry, see, too much background for here. The drifter just makes and meshes, but the person never maps. This person just enjoys the process, but is a very poor planner. Do you get? So, how will I put the drifter now? The person can have all these things, can be making things happen, and can also be doing things in the background that people don't see. But the person is a very poor planner. That means the person does not. The person just focuses on gathering all these efforts, gathering all the degrees, gathering all the everything. But you have not planned. There's no career trajectory. You don't know where you're going. Like, there's no development. Do you understand? I'm trying to find the best way to put it. Okay, so this person is maybe doing all this, but they told you that you have to get CIPM, so you got CIPM. You didn't understand why you have to get it, you just got it. They told you to get this one, APHRI, you got it. You don't know why you want to get it, you just got it. No planning. You don't know, you're not saying, okay, I got this because of this. You just got it because they told you get it. There's no plan. You don't know where your career is going to take you. You just the freestyle. Anything when they say get it. But you have not planned for yourself. You don't know, okay, these are the industries I want to work in. You're not planning at all. You're just making things happen. Then the final person, this person is who are called the dreamer. It should be self-explanatory. This person is just obsessed with ideas but never tackles any of them. Like that person is just, oh yes, oh, I feel like I want to be this. Oh, I want to be the best digital tech out there. I want to be the best accountant out there. You are making all these dreams happen. These dreams are there, but you're not taking courses. You're not practicing software. You're not improving your skills. That's if you even have the skills. You're just dreaming like everybody else. Because ideas, there are lots of ideas in the world, but where are your ideas taking you? You get, you're just there existing, but you're not taking the steps necessary to get you to where you want to be. Do you understand? You just have ideas, but there's no work. You're not putting in the work to get to anything. So who are you? Are you a developer, the person that does whatever is necessary? You map, you make, and you mesh. Or are you a driver? You only map and make, but you don't mesh. Or are you the drifter? You make and mesh, but you don't map. Or are you the dreamer? You mesh and map, but you don't make. So choose your fighter. Who are you? Let me see your comments. Are you a drifter? Are you a driver? Are you a developer? Or are you a dreamer? So which one? People should pick your fighters. Or are you dreamers, developers? Okay, thank you, Ishan. He says he's a developer. Okay, thank you, Tochukwu. So we have more developers here, right? So all of you are saying that you do all the work necessary. Okay, I believe you. It's easy to do all these things. It's easy to say it. Caleb says he's a dreamer. Thank you for your honesty, because I mean it's good that we're all self-aware, that we actually understand that this is where we stand. You get, it's not just answering all these questions. You actually have to reflect, who am I and what can I do to change that aspect of myself. Okay, Ezine says she's a part dreamer and part developer. Okay. Madam Tammy says she's a dreamer. Franca says she's currently drifting. Okay. I like where everybody, at least we have all identified ourselves. We know where we stand. That's really good. Thank you so much. Well, for me, I'll say I'm a part dreamer and part developer, because yes. So that's how I'll put myself. Because if I'm being honest, there are some ideas that I have put on the back burner. I have not taken steps to get them to where they are. I just hope that, I don't hope, but I will make these things happen, because you don't thrive on hope. You make things happen by actually doing. So yes. So thank you all so much. So chapter 3, the siren song of mediocrity. Yes. So this final one, I enjoyed this chapter so much because I like the different perspectives it gave to the word mediocrity. Now, there's something he said. He said, only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far they can go. Do you get? Only those who risk going too far can possibly find out how far they can go. So how far can you go? And how willing are you to take that risk? Are you willing to, or are you willing to stay stuck where you are? So only those willing to take the risk are going to go far, while the rest of you will stay stuck where you are. Now, what is mediocrity? Or what can we say mediocrity is? mediocrity doesn't just happen suddenly. It develops slowly over time. That is what Todd Henry is telling us. He tells us that it doesn't happen suddenly. So mediocrity, well, can be because we tend to think mediocrity is just failure. But the thing about failure is an important ingredient in life. You cannot go through life and not embrace failure. We keep talking about all these famous people that did this and that. Thomas Edison tried this 1,000 times. You hear all these things, but you forget to understand that these things are part of the mediocre steps to success. Failure is a part of mediocrity, but it can be defined. Mediocrity can become very terrible when you stay stuck in that era. You allow yourself to be stagnant, because the truth is that it's nice to fail, but don't allow that feeling of failure to keep you stuck. Do you understand? So why are we talking about mediocrity? Because everybody doesn't, or a lot of people, let me not say everybody, because that's a lot of generalizing, but a lot of people tend to start out life so excited about the things they're going to do. Oh my God, I have dreams. I'm going to be the best this. I'm going to be the best that. Now, the problem with just starting it is that some may start and have a clear direction of where they are going. And some of us may start without having that clear direction. And then over time, those that have a clear direction tend to either make it or not make it. Because the truth is that you can have a clear direction, but if you don't put in the work necessary to ensure that that works out, then you are going to just put yourself in a lot of trouble. And then if you start, there are people that start out not knowing what they want to do. You never know. Like Elon Musk would never have guessed that he will be who he is today. Bill Gates, none of them would have guessed, but they just started. So you cannot allow fear keep you where you are. You have to keep going regardless. So that is what mediocrity, or this chapter, is tending to address. Don't allow yourself stay stuck in that fear of the unknown. Allow yourself to fail while embracing the changes that come with it. There's a saying that says, no one charts a course for mediocrity, yet it's still a destination of choice, which means that mediocrity can happen based on the decisions you make today. So what decisions are you making for yourself? What decisions are you making today? I said something earlier about legacy. I said legacy is a combination of the decisions you make. It's one decision at a time. You create your legacy one decision at a time. So what are you doing now that is keeping you stuck? So that I'll not take more time, because I feel like I've taken a lot of time already. So these are the 7 deadly sins of mediocrity. Aimlessness. You have no clear strategy for success. You don't even know where you're going. You're just in the world, like, yeah, let's get this thing going. Let's go to where we want to go. You're just moving. Anything that comes, you are taking it. You can't actually define for yourself where you want to go. You're just walking aimlessly. So how do you combat this sin? You have to define the battles that you want to fight every day. You cannot do everything. So give yourself boundaries, very healthy boundaries of the battles you want to fight. This is what I want to do. These are the steps I'll take to do it. And this is how I'll continue. And it must be consistent, because the truth is that you cannot keep doing things and then forgetting about them. You have to actually stay the course if you want to attain what it is you want to attain every day. And then the second deadly sin is boredom. And I think I talked about boredom and how it affects us. Boredom is defined as brain rot or stagnancy in this case. So people, even people that maybe are highly compensated, or they've gone like 10, 15 years into their career, they get bored. And I've said it before that boredom is nice, but it's when you allow it to fester, that's when it becomes a problem. You get? So you have to allow yourself to evolve constantly, because the truth is that life is constantly changing. Like, change is the only constant thing in life, and there is always something to learn. There's always something to know. So embrace your boredom, but at the same time apply intentional and curious intentional curiosity, sorry. Be very intentional and in your curiosity. The things that you want to do, be very intentional about knowing them. It's nice to get bored, but ensure that you allow your mind to be open to the possibilities that you haven't explored, because it could be a time for you to find clarity somewhere else and you haven't found it, or maybe you've gotten to a point where you are stuck in one place. You've done a lot in a particular field. Maybe you've done compensation and benefits for like 5 years, and all of a sudden you're bored. You feel like you could do more. Maybe you could explore something else. Maybe you could explore workplace culture. You could explore different things. There are a lot of fields in HR. You could explore HR analytics, and you find that, okay, that's a new challenge for you, but it's something that is also important. There's this HR stuff that I follow and learn, and then one of the facilitators, the guy has moved from the different aspects of HR, and now he can do a lot of them at once. Maybe he's not an expert in everything, but from the way he was talking with us, you can tell that he's very experienced in what he's doing. Like, he was able to lay down different examples and different ways you can, practical ways, not just anything said in absentia or abstracts. Like, he was able to give us practical things that you could apply to yourself if you wanted to start at the beginning, and if you're an experienced person. So that's the thing about boredom. Embrace it and then open yourself to new challenges. And then another deadly sin of mediocrity is comfort. People tend to get very comfortable. Okay, I've arrived here. Yes, I've gotten to managing director level, so I'm good. There's nothing else for me to do. Don't allow yourself to get comfortable. Allow yourself to explore new ways to add value. Then delusion. People tend to allow themselves stay in one delusional path. Yes, if I'm here, don't worry, nothing will happen. I mean, I'm here. I've been working here for the past 10 years. They are not going to sack me. Maybe you're there for 10 years, but you're not adding value again. You just stay stuck in that delusional aspect. It's self-explanatory. Try to push yourself. Try to allow yourself not stay stuck in that place. Then ego. People don't like to be told that they failed. They don't like to be told that something they said is stupid. People don't like to look stupid. I think that's the best way to say it. People don't like to look stupid. Everybody wants to feel like they are something, like they are always very smart. You get? But the truth is that you can't know everything. There's always somebody that will know more than you do. And even if you claim you're an expert in something, you should allow yourself listen to even people that you think may not know more than you. You don't know what that person would talk about or say that you may pick from and learn from. You should allow yourself to look stupid. Don't allow ego ruin a learning moment. That is what I'll tell us now, because I think a lot of us tend to allow ourselves look smart always. And imagine looking smart always, and then you fall into that. That's why a lot of us fall into brain rot, because you are stuck in assuming that everything you are doing is right. You never want to be wrong. That's very deadly for you long term, because people will be like, okay, yeah, maybe you know everything that you want to do, and they'll leave you until you are ready to come back and say, okay, I'm sorry, I thought I could do this more than that. And yeah, so allow yourself to look stupid. Then fear of it's self-explanatory. You feel that something will not happen right, and you decide, okay, I'm not going to do it. How about you take that step, take that action, and wherever it leads you, you're good. And then the last thing is guardedness. Like, this focuses on relationships, because a lot of us, once we reach a certain level in life, we forget our relationships. And that is very detrimental to you, because in the world of work, in the world of office work, any kind of work, relationships are very important. Some people have testified, even in the groups, about jobs they've gotten because someone recommended them, not because of anything that, like someone just said, oh yes, I think you can do this, and they mentioned their name somewhere. I mean, allow yourself to meet with people and strategically meet with people. Don't meet with people because you want to use them. And another thing is, allow yourself to network, not just to the top, but also network horizontally, because the truth is that your friends might know things that you may not know, even people that may seem below you, because people love hierarchy a lot. So allow yourself to develop relationships with people from different aspects, different spheres, and your life will be so good. So I'll just leave us with this. Try to take decisive action. Stop looking for quick fixes. Dump toxic positivity. It's nice to be positive, but don't allow it to keep you in a bubble. Embrace boredom. Work is value added. Embrace the possibility of best. These are very important. So I hope you had amazing time. Like, this is I'll stop here. I'll allow Z to take charge of the next 3 chapters, because yes, thank you so much.
Fantastic.
Okay, more chapter, yes.
Thank you
so much.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you. That was just so, it was so detailed. Like, you took us to school. I hope that people that are in this review are taking notes. It's not enough to just be like hoo-ha here, and then when we walk out of this place, everything just falls inside. It was amazing. Well, thank you so much. I took notes, and I'll say the things that particularly stood out to me. One of the resonating things you kept saying was, it's not a day job. It's something you do. It's repeated or consistent steps, to get to that place of dying empty. You can't die empty overnight. You can't die empty in a day. You're not going to be able to achieve it all at once. You're going to have to do it repeatedly. Another thing that you said that stood out to me was, enjoy the journey. People are too much in a hurry to get to the end point. But what about the journey? Because those are that's the beauty of the whole thing. It's the journey. Make those memories, those experiences, take them in. Because that's the beauty of the journey. Is the end point, yes, is important, but it's more about the journey. And then another thing you said people are afraid to die. I think people are afraid to die, or a lot of people are afraid to die because they have not put out enough value. Because you find, I don't know if you've heard or you've been around people that that died or were close to dying, you find that those people behave as well, especially people that are prepared. They know there's this stillness in their hearts, there's this calm, there's this peace, because they know that they have fulfilled, all they're put on earth to do. Sometimes some people it just takes them, they may have lived their life for a couple of years, and it just takes maybe 2 years or 3 years or a short bubble of time, and they finish everything. And then the way they're talking or the way they're speaking, you can tell, even though you're not accepting it yourself, but they have accepted that they're ready to go. So I think that those people that are afraid to die is because they believe that they have not, given any value. Thank you so much, Uwa, for that. So, chapters 1 to 3 really spoke about why people live unfulfilled lives. But then going forward from chapters 4, it talks about application, the principles. There was something Uwa said. I can't remember if she said it here, but she said it in the group, where she said she did say it here, that this is unlike, the other self-help or self-motivation books, where you have them giving so much fluff, they were telling you nice words and everything, but you don't see anything concrete to do. But this one, there's CTAs, there's call to action. So it's not enough to just read, the book and feel all good and nice about yourself. David has given you steps, has told us, what to do about, dying empty. Yeah. So it starts from chapter 4. And I think chapter 4 is just a build-up, or chapter 4 going forward is just a build-up of, what has been said in the previous chapters. Uwa has touched on some of them, but we're going to go, talk a little bit more, or just, kind of like re-emphasize what Uwa had said. So chapter 4 talks about defining your battles, and she mentioned it under chapter 3. If one of the 7 sins of mediocrity is aimlessness. So if you have no aim, then you just be moving about in circles. You won't live a fulfilled life. You will not be able to give value. So you need to define your battles, and it's a daily exercise. You have to decide, like Uwa said, create boundaries. You have to decide, what it is you're doing, how you're living your life, right? Progress is only made through consistent steps, those unseen efforts. You may not see it. It may not be so obvious, but those little things that you're doing, they're the ones that compound and they give results. So what are you doing each day? What are the things you're doing every day towards, getting to that point of bringing value, of dying empty? And you have to do this by figuring out what your through line is. What is your through line? Uwa asked a question earlier. She said, I can't remember how she phrased it, but it was like, how do you want to live your life, or how do you want to be remembered, or something like that? It's how do you want to be seen as, what's that thing that gives you a kick? There's some people that before they die, okay, she said something about, before you die, what do you want to do? And she said, someone said, I want to tell my mother I love you, right? Someone said, I think I saw a comment, I think it was Caleb that said he wants to travel around Africa. So what's that thing? What's your through line? What's that change that you want to see in the world through your efforts? What's that thing that gives you a kick? That is your through line. And you have to figure it out. You have to be the one to figure that out yourself. However, because of the routine life that we live, we tend to get caught up in it and quenches the fire in us. If I ask us how many of us are living the life that we envisage, or living that life of, what's the word now? Are we living our passion? Are we walking in the way of our passion? I don't think many of us may answer that question. I mean, a couple of us will, but some of us have been caught up in the mundane life, the routine life. You have to pay bills, you have to do what you got to do, and you're not really, that fire that's supposed to be in you has been quenched. So people are just walking about like zombies. You wake up in the morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock, you brush your teeth, have your bath, and then you're out. Same day, different, the same thing. You keep on doing the same thing repeatedly every day. And then it also doesn't help, that even when you have those dreams, right? The dreamers, for some of us that are the dreamers, we have those, high, big dreams and all that. But when we start to talk about them, people tell us that we should be practical, we should be reasonable. You have those things that, as we are growing up as a child, as a young person, oh, I want to do this, I want to be an aeronautical engineer, I want to be this, I want to be that. And then you have your family telling you, that's not practical, that's not reasonable, you have to pay bills. And I say this, that for some of us, it's society conditioning. So you have children that are born and they want to be this and they want to be that. And you hear parents saying, are you joking? After I spent this amount of school fees on you, why do you think that? What makes you think you're going to be this? No, this is what you're going to do. So you have people shutting down that those dreams in you and telling you to be practical, right? And over time, you begin to compromise on that fire, and the fire begins to die. It dies until it's, it's either there, it's there, there's small embers of fire, or it's not even there at all. Because for everything you think about, somebody will tell you, do you know how much dollar is that? This is your dream that you want to do. It's not achievable. Benny, please just, face your work and pay your bills, so you keep on being, your fire keeps on being quenched by the day. But then when and then over time, you're selling your soul, because there's that comfort of the plush job, or even if it's not a plush job, the comfort of that salary that they hand to you over time. And again, in the previous chapter, some people have this myth that, if you're working, that means you've abandoned your dream. No, that work does not necessarily mean, somebody may be working and be fulfilling their dream. So work is not necessarily the enemy. But what I mean is you're doing something that you're not doing because you want to do it or you love to do it, but you're doing it out of necessity. That's the one I'm talking about. So you're selling your soul every day, for that salary or for whatever it is, and you're killing, that fire is dying every day. And then you're ignoring risks to go for a safe bet. We talk about comfort zone. You would rather trade uncertainty for certainty. If I step out into the world and then, yes, I want to do this thing that I was out to do, but this one is certain. At least at the end of the month, they'll pay me salary. They say what's the saying that they say that half bread is better than none, right? So you say, let me have the half bread than to pursue this thing because it's not going to work. I have a family to feed. I have mouths to feed. So yeah, so you keep on ignoring the risk to go for a safe bet, and then you run away from battles that you should be fighting. But David is saying, fight those battles, define those battles, and identifying this through line where you're going to focus your energy on is a journey. And like Uwa has said, and we've said, the book has said, enjoy that journey. It's a continuous thing. You're not going to achieve it overnight. You're not going to achieve it in one day. You're not going to even achieve it in 2 days, but it's going to happen over time. And then it's going to come as a result of self-awareness. And I like that this self-awareness thing is something that resonated through our book reviews. If at work, at home, you need to know who you are, and that's a journey too. You need to discover and figure out who you are, because if you figure out who you are, if you know who exactly you are, what you want, what your values are, then you can define your battles. That will help you define the battles and make you not run around aimlessly in life. And of course, it requires persistence. So you have to keep at it. Yes, it's not going to be easy, but you have to keep at it repeatedly. And it is those little repeated steps that will produce results, right? And then somebody may say, but I may not have defined my battles. I may not have defined my through line, but I'm doing great work. Yeah. David says, yeah, it's possible. You can churn out good work. However, think about how much more you could do if you actually defined your through line. So there's so much more. You need to question yourself, if I haven't defined my through line, if I haven't defined what change I want to make in this world, if I haven't defined my purpose and I'm doing this much, then think about how much I could achieve if I actually define it. So would you rather stay in the safe zone, or step out and then achieve so much more and then impact so much more, or do so much more than you imagined yourself to do? And if you do this, right, if you establish your battle lines, you finish every day fulfilled. So you must be clear about what's important to you. Like Uwa says, establish your boundaries and then make sure you don't compromise, or else you regret. When you look back tomorrow, you regret the times you sold yourself short just to be accepted by people, just so that those people don't say you're building castles in the air, you're dreaming too much, come down to earth. It's not about pleasing people. It's about, it's because at the end of the day, it's you that will look at yourself and figure out and say, have I done all I need to do on earth? It won't be about the other people. So David says the most fulfilling way to approach work and life is to ask, what can I add? There's so many takers in life. Where you go all around you, people who are looking for what to take, what to grab. You hear questions like, what's in it for me? But then the question is, you should ask is, what can I give? What value can I add? Yeah, instead of what can I get? And then if you do this, you tend to tilt towards fulfillment. So choose your battles wisely, and then choose and focus on those battles. And then once you have that focus right, then you see your life aligning, and then you're on that way to adding value, and then on the path to dying empty. Now we move into chapter 5, which is one of my favorite chapters. It's about being fiercely curious. Now, you know that every child is born curious. We're born curious. So that's why, you have, if we're your parents, or if you're an auntie or uncle, you've had an experience with children, when you tell the child, sit down there, they'll say, why? And they like, sit down there. I said, sit down there. Just like, why? And, I've been in several conversations with people, about this. In our setting, in our society, there's so much, there's been so much pushing of that curiosity voice. Yeah. So when you're a parent and your child asks you why, you say, shut up there. Why? The child will say, why? You say, come on, shut up. I've told you to sit down. And that's what I say, sit down. But maybe you should be more intentional. And I do it myself. I try to be more intentional and say, you know what, I'm not saying that I'm perfect. Sometimes I tilt towards the Nigerian mommy. But sometimes I'm like, okay, if I'm asked the question, I answer, because that helps build that curiosity, and it helps you not to kill the fire of that curiosity. So what it is that some of the reasons why some of us as adults are no longer curious is because it's a gradual killing from childhood. You ask a question, they tell you, shut up. Who are you to ask? Why should you ask your elders? Why should you question your elders? And then before you know it, you're hushed every step of the way, and then that curiosity dies. But that's what brings that's what makes a child, everything is exciting to the child, everything is mysterious to the child. And the writer says we need to keep being like them. We need to question things. Every day you go to work, they give you paper, they say do this, and you say yes sir. Have you ever asked why? I know somebody will be like, hey, it's Z, what are you saying? How can I ask my boss why? You want me to lose my job? I'm not saying, there are different ways you can ask why. You can question processes, you can question policies, you can question procedures, you can look at things, you look at tissue, like I'm just giving an example. Why should this tissue why should it be rectangle? Why can't it be circle? Why can't it be a trapezium? Why can't it be this? Why can't it be that? And you sit down intentionally and ask those questions. That is what births innovation. That's what births, or that's what makes creativity increase, because you're asking questions. You're sitting down, you're looking at something like, why does the thing have to be like this? Why do I have to accept it hook, line, and sinker, right? And it does seem easier said than done. Yeah, it's so easy to say, but but it's doable. And the thing is that a curious mind makes you more effective at what you do, because it opens your mind to so many possibilities. And once your mind is opened, it's like elastic, you can't go back. Yeah. And I remember that some time ago, regarding this book, there was a question, somebody brought up a question about, being, having so many activities or being busy with activities, and, asking whether talking about idleness and boredom, right? And saying, oh, I can be, well, if I'm busy, I'm too busy, why would I be bored? But then there were responses, and people said, yeah, you can be busy, but you can be bored. And David says that we have a lot of busily bored people because you're just living a mundane life. Like I said, you're moving like a zombie. Wake up at 4:30, go to work at 5:30, go through the day. 6 o'clock, you head out, you're on the road, and that's it. You rinse and repeat the cycle every day, and you're just living that zombie life, and there's no value being added, right? And there's no fire inside of you. So if you look at it, I don't know if you watch, in the movies where they're showing zombies with their dark eyes, their hollow eyes, there's no life in them. That's kind of like the way some of us are moving about life as adults. You're just moving through life, and before you know it, 10 years is upon you, and you have not done anything with your life. You're just earning a salary, you're just earning income to pay bills. Yeah, you're just going through the motions. And then, but with these people that we talk about, you can talk about something else and you see them excited. I mean, it's even something as simple as football. That same person that moves through life and gosh, with so much dreariness, when it's time to talk about things like maybe football, you see the person's eyes are so you can tell that the fire is there, but then it needs to be stoked, it needs to be reignited, right? But they're just not putting as much excitement in their work. So the writer says, get back into curiosity mode by adopting an engagement mindset. So rather than an entertainment mindset, and the world has made things that we are so much in an entertainment mindset, right? And this entertainment is brought to us by social media, and it's such short-term entertainment. So, there's always a trend. Who talked about these trends thing. Last week was this gist about this person. Everybody was shouting, hey. By next week again, there's another gist. We move on to the next thing. So yes, social media is a double-edged sword. It does offer value, but at the same time, it also takes away, for some, it takes away that ability to immerse yourself deep, to think deeply, because there's always a thrill, short-term thrill. Oh, that story, did you hear that gist? Oh, and before you know it, we're moving on to the next thing, right? So it does provide knowledge, but then it's, that vacuum where deep mindful thinking is supposed to occur, that it fills up that vacuum. And because entertainment is so fleeting, you're looking for the next best shiny thing. However, there are times you need to set yourself apart and then immerse yourself into deep thinking, and engagement, and get into intellectual growth, because that intellectual growth will not come from accumulation of tidbits. Some of us are very guilty of this, and I myself inclusive. We like to gather information, like Uwa gave this example. In this our part of the world, we're very certification crazy. or paper crazy. You want to gather this, you want to gather this, you want to gather this. But the question is how much of that information or that knowledge that you're acquiring, how much of it are you applying, right? So you can be gathering. When they see your name, they see GNLD, HPL, you have all the long lists to your name. But the thing is, how much of it are you really applying? When somebody sees you at work, are you really applying that knowledge? I've been in HR for years, so I know I've had conversation with people, and some of my colleagues or bosses will be like, isn't it this person that has all these titles? Okay, but the person do the work or answer questions. The person can't answer the questions because they've not been able to apply that knowledge, to they've not been able to apply the knowledge. You're just acquiring, but they're not applying it. So you don't just, grow by acquiring the knowledge, but how much of it are you applying to your life? Yeah. So when you're intentional about where you spend your valuable time, then you begin to notice, you will notice the little things and then apply that to your work. There was a saying that stood out to me by Alexander Pope. He says, some people will never learn anything for this reason: they understand everything too soon. ITK, I too know, you quickly acquire, but you have not really. So yeah, so Chuku, you said, can you gather all? Yeah, you can gather the information while waiting for opportunities to apply, but then make sure to apply them and make sure to seek out those opportunities, because sometimes those opportunities don't come. You're not going to sit down and the opportunities are going to come to you. You're going to have to seek some of them out. So there's nothing wrong in acquiring the information, but the question is, how long are you keeping that information? And are you actually applying them? At what point are you going to apply them? Because opportunities don't come and they don't come to people's laps. You go out and seek them. So as much as you acquire information, right, go out and look for the opportunities to apply them, right? So the writer says, you don't wait for inspiration to strike. You have to search it out, by asking probing questions. So you have situations where creative people, I think we'll come to that, where creative people find themselves in a block. They have a writer's block and they're like, or creative block, whatever it is, and they're looking for inspiration. Like I said, these things don't necessarily come to you. You have to go and seek them out. So if you're looking for inspiration to do your work, to be better at your work, to make sure to give value so that you're emptying yourself out daily, you need to ask probing questions. You need to comb your environment. You need to stop and smell the roses. Stop going through the motions, but then take yourself out and then immerse yourself. Ask questions. Why is this thing like this? When you're asking the questions, you start to get answers, and those questions open up to other questions. And those are the things that, everything keeps on opening up until, you find that's where the innovation comes in, right? And I talked about creative people experiencing the creative block. So to avoid having a creative block and avoid being busily bored, you can establish what he called hunting trials. So keep a list of questions, right? Give yourself a chance to not know things. So I've had conversations with people. Some people I talk to, they seem to think that I know so much. And so they come to me and say, Z, do you know this? And I say, I don't. And they're surprised. They're like, yeah, I don't. But you know what? I don't stop at I don't. So as you are searching out the answer to that question, me too, I'm searching it out because me too, I want to know. But I'll be honest to admit to you that I don't. I also apply this with my children. You know how it is where children see you as like your parents, they see their parents as superheroes, they can do no wrong. So my children will come and say, in fact, I've heard my children, sometimes say, oh, mommy knows everything. I correct them and said, no, mommy doesn't know everything. So sometimes they come and ask me something, mommy, I don't know, darling, can you educate me? And I've had conversations with my children where they sit me down and they tell me stuff and I'm like, oh, wow. So give yourself a chance to not know things. You cannot be ITK, because if you're ITK, you're blocking yourself from receiving knowledge. So you're not expected to know everything anyway. Yeah. Some people view ignorance as a failure. I don't. So that's why I'm happy to say I don't know. So you shouldn't see it as a failure. Be happy to say I don't know, because it's a chance for you to learn, because successful people see it as it's a reality. It's reality. I immerse myself in the reality that I can't know everything, but I see it as an opportunity for growth. So if I don't know something, if you come to me with a question, I don't know it, as you're seeking it out from someone else, or I say, hold on, I'll go and seek out the answer and then I'll bring it to you, or we'll go and seek out the answer ourselves. And that way, both of us are learning. Yeah. So it's an opportunity to grow. And when you ask those questions, those are the questions that lead to the aha moments, the eureka moments, because you're like, as you're asking, like I said, it's opening you up to other questions and you're like, oh, wow, aha. But you can't know if you don't probe, right? And it says the appearance of wisdom is not the same as having it. Some people seem like they're sages, you know how they say, that someone has white hair does not mean the person is white. We've seen people that are old that are not necessarily white. Not saying you shouldn't respect them, but some people, the fact that they're older than you does not mean that they know better than you. And people that seek wisdom aren't threatened by new knowledge. So before you start something, figure out what you're hoping to achieve from it. And then down questions to probe. You must ask, probe, why, when, which, how. And as you go through the day, take note of hunches from that list. I don't know, I'm sure, because I have those voices that speak to me as I go through the day, those prompts, that little voice in your head. Take note of them. Don't shy away from those voices. Don't shy away from those hunches. Yeah? Don't shy away from things that you don't understand and turn them into questions to probe further. Then you can have a book. The writer says something like that. And this, I love this. I have books. I'm a book person. I'm a journal person. I love to keep my notebooks. I've been writing notes since I was a child. Things I would look at years ago and I'll be like, those little prompts, I will just remember something, I will note it down. And those are such gems. And he's saying, have that. He calls it a commonplace book where you keep a collection of quotes. So yeah, I used to do that. I keep collection of quotes, things that stand out to me wherever I am, articles, things that you like to explore further. And I even do this virtually. So you may not necessarily even have a hard copy notes. You can do it virtually. That's what bookmarks are for. So like on Twitter, I have my bookmarks, gosh, they're like an MBA, because the things that are there that I have bookmarked, and it's not that bookmark to keep away. I go back to them and I repair, and they always come in handy at some point. Someone asks me a question, I go to that bookmark and the knowledge is there. That article is there waiting for me to, download and, get knowledge to pass across. So, those are things that fuel your passion, your curiosity, right? And make it a habit to comb through this book or that platform, wherever you have put those things daily. I try to do it daily. Well, I'll be honest, I don't do it daily, but I regularly do that because that gives me inspiration for a lot of things. Yeah. And I read across diverse, platforms. So it doesn't, not just books, different places that I can learn. I'm inside different communities learning, picking up things, sit down with people, different people, sit down with children, sit down with adults, be taking in things to learn, to spark off your your passion, your curiosity, and then dedicate time to pursue your questions. And then, like I said, set aside time to immerse yourself in those resources that you have put aside. So you've been acquiring that knowledge, right? Immerse yourself in that knowledge, right? And then experience them each day. So don't just stop at reading them, apply them, go forth to reflect on what you have read and the relevance to what you do. So you're not just acquiring information, how relevant is it to what you do, whether at work or in life, and apply it to those things. And then he also said, when solving problems, explore prototyping, explore and break down your problems into different ways to enable you to see things from a different perspective, because that perspective may give you new and better insights. Then find your own sanctuary, your bliss station, that place where you creatively incubate. I have a space, a corner where I stay. I'm a night person, so at night, that's when my own state of bliss is. I just, my mind starts opening up. I start checking some of those things I have put aside. I'm reading, I'm immersing myself into those things, and it's an escape, where you rediscover yourself and then keep reigniting that curiosity, that spark, questioning yourself, questioning things all the time. Then it says, develop possibility thinking. That means refuse to settle for status quo. I've asked this question. Somebody sees something like this. Why is it like this? Why does it have to be like this? You relentlessly pursue something greater, right? People probably get bored with work because they're overwhelmed with uncertainty. People are afraid of uncertainty, so they will rather go with what is safe, right? But that's because the parameters of their problems haven't been fully defined. Once you have fully defined them and you've set structure, then there can be freedom to creatively roam, right? Now it says to redefine and explore your problems, you can explore the following elements. It talks about aspirations, affinities, assumptions, and attributes. Now, aspirations, when you're working on a project, it's best to ask yourself what you want to achieve from a project. So you can't start a journey without asking what your objectives are, right? You can't take, I can't just get up and just start going somewhere. What do I want to achieve from that journey I'm taking? So it will help give you better direction. Then affinities. There might be some similarities between what you're doing now and what you've done before. Connect the dots. And then it might also be a way to bring up more insights. Like I said, ask questions, and then as you're connecting the dots, it's opening you up to more possibilities. Then challenge any assumptions you might have. Don't walk into something with assumptions, going with a clean slate. If you do have assumptions, challenge them. So it gets you out of that rut, right? And it uncovers fresh ideas. And then attributes. Are there names? Are there titles? Are there specific words you can give to the problem you're trying to solve? And then those names or those words you have given can now help you ask probing questions to drill down deeper to get new perspective on that problem, right? And these elements you can continuously use them throughout the process or the project to keep you from getting stuck. You know, you rinse, repeat, continue the process. And then when you experience a block, like people that experience a creative block, or at work, you just feel like you're pushing against a wall and you can't push further. Don't keep on pushing against the wall because you're just doing more damage, right? Rather, you need to solve it by asking different and better questions. So, you know, if it's a conceptual block, you can't seem to generate a big idea. You ask yourself, what am I trying to accomplish here? That will give you clarity. Then what is this problem? Yeah, you look for affinities. You know, the affinities are the similarities between this project and a previous project. So you connect the dots. And then what is inspiring me right now? That's the question to ask when you're experiencing a block, when you cannot generate an idea. But then if you are experiencing a constraint in your work, then you need to ask yourself, where do I feel the most constraint? Where do I feel out of control? Where do I not understand? And then identify your knowledge gap and then try to bridge that gap. Don't settle. Keep on probing. And so by default, we're likely to settle, but don't rise out of that point where you settle and then probe, open the doors. It's like, picture it in your head. You're pushing through, opening doors, because you never know what you might find. Yes, we've been told from childhood to stay focused, not get distracted. But David has said some of these mental diversions can prove to be valuable over time. So sometimes get distracted, but just make sure it doesn't veer you off, come back again. But it helps you to take breathers, to forge ahead. I don't know if that makes sense. Distractions help you clear your head to focus. So start each day with the question, what do I want to learn today? I like that this book is so practical. These are things that, I was talking with, was it yesterday? We're talking also, and I was saying how some of the things I've read in this book, as I'm driving or as I'm walking or as I'm doing something, I remember, I'm like, hey, it keeps me in check. It just keeps someone accountable. So ask yourself, what do I want to learn today? And then end it with, what did I learn today? So if there's nothing you take from this, have this at the back of your head, as you start the day, because that is what will help you on this journey to dying empty. And then don't just keep it to yourself. Connect with a friend or a colleague to share your questions and challenge each other. So bounce things off each other so that you stimulate each other, have stimulating conversations. Yes, you can have the video or those kind of, but this one is for your life. So have those conversations where you're bouncing stuff off each other, like boom, 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 challenging each other. And then introduce these 4 A's into meetings, because when you have this in meetings, it stimulates creative thinking. Now, as you've done all this, on to chapter 6 is step out of your comfort zone. You need to get uncomfortable because growth is messy. Growth is extremely messy. It's someone says, I want soft life, right? That's end goal. That's the end goal. Yes, it's a byproduct, right, of everything. But then to get to that point, you need to be uncomfortable, to leave that state of mediocrity and become a person of value. So by default, we slip back into comfort. We don't want uncertainty. We just want certainty. I want to just go to work and earn that salary. I know that 30th of the month, this salary is coming. Or I want to know that when I do this, I'll get this. Let me not just restrict it to salary or work or whatever, but we need to continuously reinvent ourselves. And then you need to do it even when no one is watching. I always say to people, if you're doing eye service, you're doing something and you're looking for audience to clap at you, you're doing yourself, because at the end of the day, it's a personal journey. So do it even when no one is watching, because it's for your own good. It's for the good of others too, because you will give value to your world. But at the end of the day, most of all, it's for your good. So David said something. He said, instead of that, he said, people ask this question, what would you do today if it was your last day on earth? But he's saying, ask it differently. Say, if you knew your actions and attitude on a particular day would be a permanent testament to your life, this thing you're doing today, that's how people are going to remember you. What would you do? What would you do differently if you knew that this? So think about it, that what I'm doing right now, is that how I'd want to be remembered if it's, if I was doing this on the last day of earth? And that's what should, keep you in check, keep you going. Then go for that, compare that your imagined behavior to your current behavior. Is there any similarity? Are you close to it? Or, if you're not, then you need to work towards that that behavior that you want to be remembered for. Yeah? Because you're very likely to find that you're not living up to your standard of excellence. So live with the realization that it's our actions that define us, not our intentions. That's why, when we talked about being dreamers, I know. We have lots of great dreams and all that, but they are in our hearts. We have not achieved them. The world celebrates people that they see the results. It's not about, oh, I had so many dreams, I was planning to be this. What did you do? That's what the world, recognizes. And growth is a daily thing. It's a daily measured disciplined action. It's not something it's unseen efforts. You see it's happening behind the scenes. And before you know it, I don't know what is it, the bamboo tree, one of these trees that, for a long time, nothing is happening. You don't see anything. And then one day you just look up and it's sprouted, right? But a lot of stuff has been going on underground. That's what it's like. There's a lot of BTS. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that's going. That's what you should be doing. Be doing it. Yes, people are not recognizing you today, but keep on doing it, because it's those small repeated efforts that will bring the results. Don't shy from taking the shot. They say you miss, what's that saying, that you miss 100% of the shots, like 100% of the shots you don't take, right? Say yes to the unknown, right? The people that are most fulfilled, people that can look back and say they lived a fulfilled life, are those people that took risks. If you lived in a comfort zone, you can't really say that you lived a fulfilled life. And no can prove to be not just a word, but a lifestyle choice, right? Nobody's saying that there are certain situations or certain circumstances where you do have to say no. Yeah, maybe it's a strategic reason, but then it should not be a default thing for you. Any small thing, come and do this. No, let's do this. No, that should, the writer is saying it shouldn't be your lifestyle choice. Slip out into the unknown, try out new things, right? But then he says there are a few reasons why this becomes a choice for some. Some people are afraid. When they say no regularly because they're afraid of harm, they want to just ensconce themselves in safety. They want to be in the safety net. They deprive themselves of, the point of life. Like, I beg, I don't want wahala, I don't want trouble. I'd rather do it safe. No, venture out, because you never know. I always say, what's the worst that will happen? And he says complete safety is actually an illusion. So do it anyway and see what happens. Some people would say no because of identity protection. They would rather not stretch so that they don't discover their true limits. But then it stunts you, makes you miss out on your valuable growth opportunities. Because if you don't say yes to certain things, how can you know what you're capable of? You have to stretch yourself. See, I always ask myself questions. The people that climb Mount Everest, those people that do those marathons, are they not human beings like me? So if I decide I want to do this thing, I can do it. It's humanly possible to do it. So, if other people are doing it, why can't you do it? Why are you choosing to put your head under the ground and say, no, I want, no. You need to venture out into the unknown. Some people don't want their boats to be rocked. I don't want trouble. I just want to live a life of, I want things to be just cool, calm. They will not, they want to protect, they want to protect things. And the more they have to protect, the less they're inclined to try new things. So somebody like, I'm a mother, I'm accountable to people. How can I try new things? I'm a family man. Why can't just let me be earning my salary, or just let me be in this place? So, but no, sometimes you do, because you never know until you step out. And then ego. Some people feel like, that no is a way of them imposing their will, and then if they say yes, they're relinquishing some control, and they don't want to release control. Yeah, because they don't want to venture into the unknown. But then we can't grow by doing what is expected of us. Growth is painful, it's uncomfortable. Like I said, it's messy, and craving for safety causes creative death. You're just dying daily. If you spend your life settling for safety or chasing safety, you'll settle for scraps and leftovers. And do you want to live that kind of life? I certainly don't. And then another lie that people tell themselves that prevents them from saying yes is that they're not going to get it good again. So you have a job and it's really nice, and then but there's this nagging feeling inside of you that this is just not where I need to be. And I've been like this myself for for God knows how long, that I guess a point in my life, I have an itch and I'm like, there's so much more. I always say to myself, there's so much more. There has to be so much more. And then people are like, but you have this great job, why you're not, if you leave this one, you don't know whether you get another one. So people are afraid that if I let go of this one, who's to say I'll get another one? But then that's the thrill of the unknown. You just don't know if you don't try. Yeah. And the book talked about Jeff Bezos. There was a time Jeff had a plush job. He had the job with all the bonuses and everything. And, he said he asked himself a question: if he can project himself out to age 80 and think, what will I think at that time? And that was what helped him get out of the confusion of whether to leave and start Amazon. We know the story of Amazon, how he started from his garage. So it's not an overnight success story. This thing took years to get to the point. But if he didn't leave that plush job, probably wouldn't have an Amazon. We probably might have had one, but from someone else, not from a Jeff Bezos. So don't let short-term comfort convince you to neglect your long-term goals, right? And then waiting, even if you don't say no, the fact that you're waiting, that's even another form of, it's inaction. It's also another form of death, though it's less risky than no. But then that's, waiting, you're not doing anything, you're just sitting down. You're waiting for permission to act. You're waiting for, you're waiting for something to come to you, tell you to go out and search it yourself. So the thing is that you have to act, because the good news is that once you start, because if you don't start, the journey seems so scary. But the moment you start, you take that first step. As you take each step, it starts to get easier. The journey gets less daunting, and then you figure it out along the way. And really, if you think about life. I think I can apply it to everything. I'll give example, parenting. I remember when I was about to be a parent, I was scared, I was terrified. I was like, hey, God, can I do this? See me, little me. But then I was figuring it out every day as I went. I still am figuring it out. You have parents of 20-something-year-olds and they're figuring it out. It's a daily, so everything you do is a daily learning experience, but you can't know until you put your leg into the mud, right? You have to move forward. And when you move, then the journey or the path opens up to you, right? And when thinking about what you can change, don't think about limitations, but rather think about growth opportunities. Growth doesn't happen by accident. It's not going to come and meet you. Growth does not fall upon you. It's an intentional thing, but you need to define your growth and create a plan to achieve it. And then there are 3 types of goals to help you grow. So there's a step goal. Those are normally typically short-term goals, and those are daily goals. They can just help you. You have to just be consistent in them. They help you maintain your progress. And so for a step goal, you ask yourself, what will I do today, no matter what? So I want to lose weight. I want to have, I don't like to call it dirty December, but yeah, include dirty December body, right? And it's not going to, the body is not going to come to me. I'm going to have to take steps. And what are the steps I need to take? Okay, I'm going to start exercising on a daily basis. I'm going to make sure that I don't eat beyond a particular time. Those are step goals, right? Start and don't break the chain. Be consistent. Then there's the sprint goals, right? Those are the medium term, typically 1 to 2 weeks that make you go beyond your capacity, right? This one is designed to stretch your endurance and help you gain momentum on your stretch goal. The stretch goal is the last goal. That stretch goal is a long-term goal, which forces you to go beyond your comfort zone. So all these goals are they're intertwined, or they complement each other, right? But the stretch goal is a major feat. But make sure that it's something that is you can measure and can control. If you can't control it, you can't plan for it. Now, it's good to have stretch goals in many areas of your life, in your business, in your work, mental, relational, personal, spiritual. Have those goals. Those are the things that will help you. If you're able to categorize those goals, those will help you in your journey of unleashing, letting out, emptying yourself daily, right? And you can't do it all at once. So don't kid yourself. You have to do things bit by bit, but be choosy and strategic about the goals that you decide to do. Benjamin Franklin, and this is my favorite part, he asked himself 2 questions daily to help him make effective focus. And I adopted this. He said he started in the morning and would say, what good shall I do today? So that's the cost, setting the course of action. And then in the evening, when he was done, at the end of the day, he came back to say, what good have I done today? So it's not just about what you want to do, but tracking and measuring, taking note of your daily progress. I think, it will be good for us to adopt that. And he says it's never too late to take action. Don't say, oh, I've been at this thing, I've been in this workplace 17 years. No, isn't it this thing you're saying? I beg. No, it's never too late. every day is an opportunity to start again. Just commit to stepping out of your comfort zone and set goals to get there. Looking back at your life, the parts that you'd be most proud of are places that you stepped out of your comfort zone, right? And for this journey, have an accountability partner. Because the truth is that some of us cannot do this thing by ourselves. Sometimes you will set out, we come out of this review, hey, yeah. In fact, I'm going to do this, I'm going to die daily. And then you go back to work tomorrow, and then, you get into the bus, conductor abuses you, and then, it's back to default. Like, that book was, So that's why you need an accountability partner. You need someone who's going to prompt you, be like, hey, how far? So it's both of you are, you're on the journey together, right? So have an accountability partner for these 3 goals: the stretch, the sprint, and the step goals. And do not be hard on yourself. Make sure to set, I always say this to people that I talk to, people that I mentor, people, whoever it is that I come into contact with, I say, make sure to celebrate your small wins, because when you celebrate your small wins, it spurs you on to do the bigger things, right? It encourages you. Those little milestones that you achieve, celebrate them, because it's so important in this journey of dying or be dying empty and emptying yourself daily. And with that, I come to the end of our review for chapters 1 to 6. Like we said, this is part 1. We're going to come back with part 2, because the book is 12 chapters and we didn't want to just stretch all of us, so we had to do it bit by bit. But before I go, I see Yemi in the background. Yes, I know we've gone to, I said we're going to have time. Yes, Uwa was very interactive, was asking people questions. I want to find out from us, how many of us have read this book actually? Can I see a show of hands of people that actually read this book? Okay, fine. Even if you didn't finish everything, but at least you've read 6 chapters or you've read 3 chapters. How many of us have actually read this book? Thank you, Temi, for your honesty. Fantastic. Jessica has read the book. Please put in the chats your show of hands. Just do a show of hands. So we have 37 people here. Let's even know. So it's one thing to come in and listen to a review. I like, out of the 37 people, maybe 5 people have read it. I haven't, only a page. For me, that's fine. That's something. But you can assure me that tomorrow you read another page, because that's the point. You have to be consistent. So there's nothing, it said it's not too late to start. It's not too, we're not done with this review. Blessing has read the book. Fantastic. Blessing Madugba, you just got to know about this. Please, now that you know, please start reading the book from tomorrow or from tonight if you can. Shego, you have, but at least you have. That's fantastic. Franca, please start reading the book. Moses, fantastic. 3 chapters in the book. So Chiku, what's this one? Oh my God. Because why I'm asking is that this is a book to read. This is not a book that you would even read and put aside. This is a book you will come back to. You remember what I talked about? I said your resources, you go back and immerse yourself. This is a book that you have to go back to. So please, for those of us that have not even read at all, it's not too late to start. Please go ahead and start. For those of us that have started at all, fantastic. Please keep at it. Then for those of us that have read it, fantastic too, thank you. For those of us that have read it, can you say one thing that stood out to you in this book? I just want to know one thing that you have learned that you are implementing. So it's not just standing out to you, that you're implementing. I'll start with myself. The part that I said I have started doing, one of the things I started doing is this question, what good shall I do today? So when I wake up in the morning, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm like, what good shall I do today? And at the end of the day, I actually check and say, Z, what good have I done today? That thing just hits me, honestly. It helps me, keeps me in check. So please, can we share what what it is that you've actually started doing from the book, from reading this book? I like to see comments, please. At least for those of us that have read it, even if you've read one page, even that one page, there's a lesson there. So what is that thing that you have started doing? Anyone? Because what I'm asking is, it's not enough to just read books. Yeah, we come and do review and then go back. How are we applying this to our lives, to our work? Because I know that when Yemi had the vision, to start the book club, It wasn't just, I mean, we can all read, yeah, we can all go and read books in our houses and all that, whatever. But, it's not just to read, but it's to apply, to get value, to apply that, into our lives, to get value and to give value. And of course, in return, get value, but more about giving value. So I don't see any comments from anybody. So are we saying that none of us have applied anything from the books? Okay, if you haven't started applying, please, I'd like to implore you to start, look at some of the things and see what stands out to you. Is it setting goals? You saw the stretch goals, the 3 kinds of goals, yeah, that you should implement. Maybe you need to look into that, the sprint goals, the step goals, or is it having an accountability partner? Apply some of those things, because these things, I'll tell you, they actually work. They may seem like they're just words, but they work if you apply them, if you implement them, you apply them. Start small. You don't have to make it so much. Just start in one small area of your life. Yeah. Start small. So Ifeoma says, I tried, read like 3 chapters. For me, I try to make every day count, no matter what. Plant seeds for the harvest, make a daily impact, no matter how small. Fantastic. Ifeoma, as you're making that impact, I'd like to implore you to take note of it. So, it's not, because we can get lost in, when you get lost in the activity, of life, you don't realize how much impact you're making, right? So, take note of it. And then by the time you go back, maybe after a month, you'll be amazed at how much you have achieved. So why don't you try that? Sheku says, okay, Jessica says, writing out things that stand to me. Oops, I'm pasting them where I can always see them. Fantastic. You see, the written word is so powerful. It's extremely powerful. So yes, that's good. Sheku says, you got so much potential in you. It's so unfair around you, even your generation. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll. Yeah, or even your generation, you can't give out the values within you. Fantastic. Yes, Ifeoma, thank you. Lesson says there's a part, there's a part where the author talks about making our work less complicated, that the thought that comes to us naturally is actually a great thought, and we shouldn't get carried away in overthinking and complicates our work. Fantastic. Messiah says you don't have to fail before you learn. That is why there's information on other people's experience out there. Fantastic, Messiah. Thank you. So, I mean, as we're putting these things, I hope that these are things that have stood out to us and that we're going to apply to what we do in life and at work, because that's the essence. For me, that's the value I would see from us reading this book, that we apply it to what we do. So hopefully when we come back in part 2, people can say, oh, I did this, I applied this, and these are the results, because that's probably something that we'll talk about, at the end of our part 2 of our review. So that, okay, Moses says, using Kaizen philosophy to combat mediocrity. Fantastic. Thank you, Moses. Okay, with that, I hand over to, first of all, I say thank you to everyone that participated. I know that at a point we're 50 plus participants. So thank you so much to everyone. Thank you, Uwa, for being an amazing co-reviewer. Yeah, like I said, you took us to school. I hope people were taking notes. And thank you once again to Yemi for giving us the platform to discuss this. So I hand over to Yemi. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. This has been an interesting session. Please, just to reiterate, let us implement the key insights that jump at us so that we can get immediate, instant results and long-term results. Ladies and gentlemen, we are still studying the book. Please, let's continue from wherever we have started, even if it is on page 1. All right. Thank you so much for speaking to us tonight. Thank you so much, Queensley. You could appreciate.
You're welcome, sir.
Do this more often. Okay, you come back quickly. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Good night.